We start off with something healthy today. Support comes from Brickhouse Whey Protein. Now listen, I've tried a lot of protein powders over the years. Most of them didn't really do a thing. They didn't help me build muscle, didn't give me more energy, didn't even improve my workouts, just left me bloated or quite frankly disappointed. But then the doctors at Brickhouse Nutrition explained why. Most powders are loaded with poor quality protein and cheap fillers, stuff like soy, corn syrup, sodium, cellulose. No wonder they don't work. Brickhouse Whey is different. It's bioengineered by doctors, not marketers, and it delivers results you actually feel. Professional level muscle growth, real strength, a lean physique, faster recovery. And the best part, it's lactose free, so no bloating or stomach issues. Don't let junk protein sabotage how you look and feel. Switch to Brickhouse Whey, guaranteed results or your money back. So go to thenewway.com and use the promo code LEMON for 20% off. That's thenewway.com, promo code LEMON, thenewway.com, promo code LEMON. Hello, everybody. So we start with something healthy. I like starting with healthy stuff. So glad that you are here. How are you? What's happening, Lemon Heads? It is just after 5 p.m. here, Lemon Live at 5. And we have a lot to talk about. Wait till we have a new guest who I'm already in love with, but don't tell her because then, it may go to her head. And I'll introduce her in just a minute. And we also have a friend of the show who's coming back. Hopefully the new guest will be a friend of the show as well. But here's what I want to ask you guys about. Did you watch the mess in the Oval Office with Donald Trump today and Vladimir Zelensky? Not Volodymyr Zelensky's fault. We're going to show you, we're going to compare and contrast to then and now. That was then, this is now. So we'll compare and contrast to see how he was treated. And if you think Donald Trump was a little nutty, J.D. Vance, remember last time J.D. Vance I can't even say that. I was just going to say he should have just been over and whatever Donald Trump, who was just glazing him so much. So we'll discuss that. But let me tell you what happened in the Oval Office. And then we're going to talk about what's going on in the media, what's happening with MSNBC. We're getting a name change. You saw that we discussed it a little bit earlier today on the program. And then what is happening with the media beyond that. And then we're going to talk about Gavin Newsom. How everyone right now appears to be in love with Gavin Newsom's social media team. Now, what do you think? Do you like him? Do you think it's too much? Do you think it's just enough? Are you digging what Gavin Newsom's social team is doing? Because he seems to be fighting Donald Trump the way that people should go after him. That's what he appears to be doing. So let me tell you what's happening, and then we're going to get to our very special guest. Okay, so just this evening, or this afternoon, President Trump hosted Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky at the White House, joined by a rare gathering of European leaders, all pressing for progress in ending the war in Russia. Zelensky in a black suit rather than his usual military fatigues, which we'll talk about, because that was an issue last time, and they did address it this time as well. He arrived with the backing of Germany's Chancellor Friedrich Merz, France's Emmanuel Macron, Britain's Keir Starmer, Italy's Giorgia Meloni, Finland's Alexander Stubb. They traveled urgently to Washington to present a united European front to resist growing pressure for Ukraine to make territorial concessions. I feel like this should have been the first meeting, and then the Putin meeting should have been after that. In the Oval Office, the tone was dramatically different from Zelensky's tense February visit when he was berated on camera by Trump and Vice President J.D. Vance. This time, Trump welcomed him warmly, made lighthearted jokes about his attire, and praised him as a partner. The two presidents spoke of possible U.S. security agreements or guarantees from Ukraine and floated the idea of a trilateral summit with Russia's Vladimir Putin. But specifics were lacking. Just like with the Russia meeting, lacking specifics, nothing came out of it just yet. Trump declined to outline what security guarantees might be included. He did not rule out American troops, but offered no details on any of it. He said there was, quote, a reasonable chance of ending the war if he could bring Putin and Zelensky together. The meeting comes just days after Trump's summit with Putin in Alaska. Remember that one? Yeah, still boring and dull. Nothing really came out of it. It's almost feels like it didn't happen. The Russian leader's first warm reception in the West since the invasion began. Donald Trump putting him on the world stage, which is what Putin wanted, and back in the public eye. After that meeting, Trump abandoned early calls for a ceasefire and shifted towards supporting Putin's plan, a sweeping peace deal that would require Ukraine to surrender territory now under Russian control. So that leaves Zelensky facing stark choices here. Okay? Give up nearly 1/5 of his country in exchange for uncertain promises, or resist and risk losing Trump's backing altogether. So which will it be? Meanwhile, the war grinds on. Hours before today's meeting, Russian missiles struck the cities of Kharkiv and Zaporizhia, killing at least 10 people, including a child, and wounding dozens. Ukrainian officials called the strikes a deliberate effort to pressure Kyiv during negotiations. So let's talk about all of this, what's going on in the world. New to the show, Dr. Nola Haynes is a political scientist, media analyst, foreign policy expert, and host of Nightcap on the Persist Network. Dr. Nola Haynes, welcome to the program. Thank you so much. How are you?
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. I know we're talking about horrible stuff, but I'm just excited.
Thank you very much. I have been wanting to get you on. She shared with me beforehand that her mom was a huge Don Lemon fan. And so she said my mom would be so excited to see what happened. And her mom, though. So hello, heavenly hello to your mother in 2023. And thank you. And I'm so glad that your mom is a big supporter. So I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Okay.
Thank you.
So you're watching this mess going on. I feel that this meeting that happened today should have been the first meeting. And then Putin should have been the second meeting. Because after all, Zelensky, Ukraine, our allies, right? Our ally, the country and him, our allies. And then, Vladimir Putin is, by all accounts, a war criminal. So what did you make of the meeting today?
What I made of the meeting today were people understanding that they need to appease to Donald Trump and his ego. There were a lot of thank yous around the table. It was far more polite, as you mentioned, that first horrific meeting in the Oval. It was countries understanding that they need to get Donald Trump on the right side of this. However, any negotiator knows on the other side of the table, there's someone else who has a vote, and that someone else is Vladimir Putin. And as they were sitting around the table saying, thank you, President Trump, thank you, President Trump, Vladimir Putin was bombing Ukraine in that moment. So anything that was discussed today, that's fine, that's great. But you have to get Putin on the other side of that table to agree and to take that agreement seriously, because as we know, he has walked away from agreement tables before, namely the 1997 big treaty, the Budapest Agreement, where he agreed that Ukraine was a sovereign country, and then he changed his mind twice.
Let me play this, because I think it's a really good reminder of what Zelensky was up against. Okay. And it's a little bit long, but I want you, doctor, to listen. And I want the folks at home or wherever you're watching, in your car, whatever, you're listening, wherever you are. I want you to watch this, because these are the circumstances, and these are this is the feel and the opinions that Zelensky is dealing with, the attitudes when he visits Washington, D.C. and the Oval Office. This is from last time, and then we'll play this time. But take it. It's a little bit long, but watch.
Tell us what we're going to feel. We're trying to solve a problem. Don't tell us what we're going to feel.
I'm not telling you.
Because you're in no position to dictate that.
That's exactly what you're doing.
You're in no position to dictate what we're going to feel. We're going to feel very good.
You will feel influence.
We're going to feel very good and very strong.
You will feel influence.
You're right now not in a very good position. You've allowed yourself to be in a very bad position, and he happens to be right about it.
From the very beginning of the war.
You're not in a good position. You don't have the cards right now. With us, you start having cards. Right now, you don't. You're playing cards. You're playing cards. You're gambling with the lives of millions of people. You're gambling with World War III. You're gambling with World War III. And what you're doing is very disrespectful to the country, this country, that's back to you, far more than a lot of people said they should have.
Have you said thank you once? this
A lot
entire
of
meeting?
times.
No, in this
Even
entire meeting,
today.
you said thank
Even
you.
today.
You went to Pennsylvania and campaigned for the opposition in October. Offer some words of appreciation for the United States of America and the president who's trying to save your country.
Please, you think that if you will speak very loudly about the war, you
He's
can...
not speaking loudly. He's not speaking loudly. Your country's
Can I-
in big
can I-
trouble.
can I
Wait a
answer?
minute. No,
Can
you've
I
done a lot
answer?
of talking. Your country is in big trouble.
I know.
You're not
I
winning.
know.
You're not winning this.
Okay.
You
So
have
you
a
get
damn
the
good
point.
chance of
We
coming
are-
out.
We get the point. So
Mm-hmm.
what kind of pressure was he under today, Doctor?
He was under immense pressure. I said earlier today on Threads that he's not amongst friends and he knows it. You know, the fact that he was bullied into putting on a suit, the fact that yesterday before the meeting, Donald Trump telegraphed to the world that Zelensky had to agree to giving Russia full control of Crimea and that he could never, ever, ever be in NATO. So this is why this is important. This is why the thank yous around the table. This is why Zelensky put on a suit. This is why the European leaders showed up. He is asking for security guarantees that if Russia tries this again, because mind you, they've done it before in 2014, who will come to their rescue? This is what the security guarantee is about. This is what the conversation around Article 5 type of security guarantees is about. Zelensky is trying not only to save his country from the destruction that it's undergoing right now, but what about after? What happens afterwards? You know, what sort of guarantees does he have from someone that's backed away from many agreements, you know, not just New START with nuclear security, but again, the 1997 big treaty. Putin has walked away from multiple agreements. So Zelensky is saying, I need assurances, I need agreements, and I need y'all to show up once he tries this again. So today he knew he was walking into not just a den of thieves, but a den of fake mafia bosses, who believe bullying is policy. And he did what he had to do because he wants the war to end. He wants to bring his people home, especially the children, and he wants to keep as much territory as possible.
So look, I know you don't have a crystal ball. You probably don't like to do predictions, right? And who knows? Anything can happen. We live in a crazy world right now. But do you think nothing came out of the Russia meeting? And then, so this meeting with the Europeans, and go on. What were you going to say?
I mean, if you're Vladimir Putin, you gotta, it was a good look for him. He got our military folks to roll out the red carpet. Like, it was a good look.
Yeah. So do you think anything's going to come out of this today? The one that happened today? I have a little bit more confidence because it's the European leaders. They were involved. And also because Zelensky, it appears to be more level-headed. Now, trust me, I know what Zelensky is probably thinking, right, as he is sitting there. But you have to give him credit because he has to pivot, and he's walking a thin line. He's walking a tightrope.
Well, ostensibly, we are here, according to Russia's side of the argument, because of NATO expansion. So what's being negotiated on the table right now regarding security guarantees, that's where the rubber hits the road here. Will Putin say yes to anything if Zelensky, Ukraine, if they're guaranteed any sort of security assurances? And that's the one thing that Trump couldn't say one way or the other. My personal feeling is he knows how Vladimir Putin is going to respond to that. I feel like it's going to be a resounding no. And yes, political scientists, we don't like to predict, but all of the evidence that we have so far, Putin is going to want to get as much as possible and give up as little as possible. And one last thing that I will say is what was really disappointing is there is no accountability for the fact that Vladimir Putin illegally invaded Ukraine again. That wasn't talked about. They had to assuage Trump's ego sitting around that table saying, thank you, President Trump. Thank you, President Trump. And accountability was never mentioned. This is being put on Ukraine as if Ukraine were the aggressor. I need people to I need people to never forget that. Russia's in the wrong here.
And we do forget that when you consider all the antics coming out of, have you said thank you? And, conservatives saying, we need to pull back some of the money. We're sending too much money. Look, there should be accountability when it comes to the money, but I don't think that we should be turning our backs on our allies.
I completely agree. I mean, we this is part of the problem with Afghanistan, and there's a whole long conversation about the lineage of wars and how we got here. People can no longer trust our word. And so we are in this situation where our ally has been berated for all the world to see, because we're living in constant reality TV world. And he was demeaned and made to put on a suit, and he had to comply, right? Because he's there for a larger reason. He is literally being treated as if he's Vladimir Putin, where literally the red carpet is being rolled out for Vladimir Putin. We're in bizarro world. This is crazy. Yeah. But at the end of the day, our allies can't trust us, right? And this little farce that happened today, in my personal opinion, doesn't do anything to make that stronger.
Mm-hmm. We're gonna for this. I'm gonna table it for now, because I want to talk to you about what's happening with the redistricting, and also with California Governor Gavin Newsom. I mean, he's really getting lauded. His social media team is getting lauded, is being lauded or plaudits for how they're responding to Donald Trump. And we're going to show you what they're saying. We're going to show you what the zeitgeist is saying and how people feel. And we're going to talk to Dr. Nola Haynes about that in just a second. But first, a word from our sponsors. Support for the Don Lemon Show today comes from 120 Life. I've got a close friend who struggles with high blood pressure. It is scary because half of all adults in this country have it. And it's the number one risk factor for mortality, by the way. That's not something you can just ignore. But here's the good news. You don't have to rely on Big Pharma. 120 Life is a natural juice blend made with superfruits proven to help lower blood pressure. Doctors trust it, they recommend it, and you can literally track the difference yourself at home with a simple monitor. And it's not just for blood pressure. It can help with conditions like diabetes too. My friend saw real changes within weeks, and it has been life-changing. So right now, you can try 120 risk-free. Go to 120life.com and use the code DON for 20% off. You can see your numbers drop within 2 weeks. If you don't, your money back. This is serious. This is your life. Don't wait. Go to 120life.com, code LEMON. Support comes from Ollie. Now, you know me. You know I love my dogs. And I've tried just about every kind of dog food out there. Some of it's filled with fillers, preservatives, and junk, and I wouldn't eat it myself. So why would I give it to them? Ollie is different. It's fresh, human-grade food made in U.S. kitchens with real ingredients. Beef with sweet potatoes, turkey with blueberries. And let me tell you, when I feed it to my dogs, the tails wag, they hop. The excitement is crazy. That's the Ollie effect. Better food means a healthier dog, more energy, shinier coats, even better digestion. So honestly, sometimes I think my dog eats better than I do. Well, I know that they do. And Ollie goes further. They're the only fresh dog food that includes unlimited routine health screenings. That's peace of mind for you right there. So go to ollie.com/lemon and take a 30-second quiz, and use the code LEMON to get 60% off your first box. Plus, if you're not completely satisfied, they're going to refund you. That's ollie.com/lemon, code LEMON. My dogs love it, and they're healthier for it. Trust me. And thank you to our sponsors. By the way, we had a rescue dog, a foster dog that we rescued or fostered during COVID, and we started feeding him Ollie. He's a senior dog, and I mean, just completely improve the health. So we only have sponsors on this program that we believe in and that we test. So you won't, it's not just selling you stuff. We're independent. So we get to decide who our sponsors are going to be. Okay. So let's get back to the doctor who's joining us, Dr. Nola Haynes. Doctor, so let's talk about Gavin Newsom, and then I'll bring someone else in here. Maybe he can talk about Gavin Newsom as well in just a moment. Let's talk about Gavin, the governor of California. He is trolling Donald Trump at his own. He's giving him the energy that he's giving out. But first, this is Gavin Newsom on his redistricting plan versus Texas. Here it is.
As you mentioned, this is not like you're directly responding to Texas, which is under their current version of the maps trying to pick up 5 seats. But Ohio's moving forward, Indiana's moving forward, Missouri's moving forward, Ron DeSantis is making noise. Have you talked to your fellow blue state governors about whether they can do similar things, whether it's New York or Illinois or Maryland? Do you know where that stands?
Yeah, we've got to move. I mean, I really applaud. I admire what JB did in hosting the Texas delegation. Obviously, Kathy Hochul as well. I really appreciate what they're saying on this topic. And it's been wonderful. And of course, we're so proud of what Texas delegation did, because they put a lot of wind in the sails of what we're doing. They raised so much awareness. And by the way, Dan, I don't think that. I know that. We've seen it numerically with polls we did just a few weeks ago, and people not even understanding what redistricting is or what it isn't, and now how overwhelming it is, universal almost, how people now understand what's at stake. But now it's time to put a stake in the ground. It's not just about rhetoric. It's about moving that rhetoric to a different reality, and it's about doing whatever we can, not just in those 2 states, but in other states all across this country. I know Maryland's talking potentially about something in January. I know that Kathy in New York has something not totally dissimilar to what we have in California. There's a version of that in Michigan. But look, at the end of the day, there is no do-over here, man. There's no do-over. If we fall short, if we see this guy roll up and go to all those other states, just like J.D. Vance rolled up into Indiana just a week ago, I mean, we could lose this thing. It's not an exaggeration.
Okay, we get what you get. And finally, I'm glad there at least someone who is running, or someone who's out there, realizes how serious this is. And as a Democrat, they're not sitting back trying to be perfect and respectable and all of that. What do you make of that? And then we'll talk about the social media strategy as well.
Well, what he's saying is it's a 10-alarm fire. And he's also said that this isn't a lever that he wants to pull, which is why he's taking it to the people. I just recently moved from California. He was my governor for quite some time. I appreciate that transparency with the voters. And I also appreciate going to the mattresses, because that's what this moment is. Like, you have to go to the mattresses, and you have to do things right now that would not happen during normal politics time. But we are not there. We haven't been there for a while, and he absolutely understands that assignment. Now, with the rest of the governors, I know that they have to. I think that there are some Democrats who have to get on board with this strategy of showing up, like I said earlier, with the bat, with the nails, with the bat, like literally, because it's a 10-alarm fire. So, they're playing fire. They're setting fire to the rule book. And unfortunately, that's where we are right now politically as a country. There are no rules. And right now, Gavin Newsom is the one who's leading that charge.
Yeah, he is. I'm going to bring in now Tom Nichols to join Dr. Nola Haynes and I. Tom Nichols is a staff writer at The Atlantic and a contributor to The Atlantic Daily newsletter. Tom, thanks for joining us today. I'm sure you've been in a green room listening to some of it. What do you make? You saw people, Gavin Newsom's social media team over the weekend. I mean, my gosh, for the last week or so. Have you been paying attention to what's going on with that?
Well, in between trying to figure out if we're still going to be members of NATO by the end of the day today. So, I've been trying to keep track of various disasters. But yes, I have seen Newsom's social media presence in some of those posts.
Yeah, I just want to play some stuff because let me get a little bit more of what he said here, and then we'll talk about it. He is saying that Trump is a failed president. Again, trolling Donald Trump. Here it is.
You know what Donald Trump knows? He's going to lose the midterms. He knows de facto his presidency ends in 17 months when Speaker Jeffries is back in office. He knows it. Why else would you try to rig the system? Why else would you make the phone call? He's a failed president. Who else sends ICE same time having a conversation like this? Someone who's weak. Someone who's broken. Someone whose weakness is masquerading as strength.
Yeah. So that's what he said at a press conference that happened on Friday. And then he also tweeted this out, or his team did at least, of him in high school, I believe, or his high school or in college, in comparison to his high school, in comparison to J.D. Vance. Now, I'm not sure, Dr. Haynes, what you think of that. I thought it was a Baldwin brother at first. But what's the significance of that? Does this help him?
It does, because he's speaking directly to the petty audience, and the petty audience want to see a whole lot more of petty. And this is a battle that's being fought across multiple areas. And right now they are owning the messaging zone. And this is something that Dems have been struggling with. I can tell you, Don, since November, I can't tell you how many messaging meetings I've been in, regarding, in the foreign policy world, the national security world, trying to figure out how to do this thing. Even my show on the Persist Network, Nightcap, is about countering the manosphere, So there have been so many attempts at trying to get this messaging thing down to break through. And that's what we have with Gavin Newsom. People may not be happy with his forward way to the right in the media, but he's breaking through and he's owning a narrative that Dems have struggled with.
Yeah. The podcast with Charlie Kirk and Steve Bannon and the interviews, whatever. Mm-hmm. Dr. Nola Haynes, thank you very much. We appreciate it. We'll see you next time on the Don Lemon Show. Okay.
Thank you so much, Don.
Thank you very much. We enjoyed having her. Now, Mr. Tom Nichols, your turn. So we've been watching this. We spoke with Dr. Haynes a little bit about this meeting in the Oval Office today. We played some of what happened last time. I want to play a little bit of what happened this time and get your response. This is, let's see, just him. I love the Ukrainian people. Before it was very contentious. Now this is him saying he loves the Ukrainian people.
Been involved with the peacekeeping in Ukraine since your first day in the administration. What would you say to the Ukrainian people right now who are suffering under the Russian attacks and hoping that the American people will stand with them?
Well, I know Ukrainian people. I've known many over the years. They're great people. They're smart. They're energetic. They love their country. They love their country, and we want to get this war ended. That's all I can do. I love the Ukrainian people, but I love all people. I love the Russian people. I love them all. I want to get the war stopped. Very important.
This is a foreign policy version of very fine people on both sides. But look, I don't know, Tom. You go ahead.
When you ask Donald Trump questions like this, he leans on these things as a crutch. If you ask him, what do you think about the aspirations of the Fredonian people, the country from the Marx Brothers movie? He'd say, I know many Fredonians. I love the Fredonian. He doesn't, it's like Mad Libs, where he just sort of fills in, the name of whoever it is. You've heard him say this about other people. I love the Indian people. I love the Chinese people. I know many of them. They're friends of mine. That's what he does to tread water when he doesn't quite know how to answer the question, or he's trying to avoid getting himself into trouble with some kind of an answer. I think, the thing that really struck me, watching him in that meeting in the Oval today, is he doesn't know what to do next. I think he went to Alaska. I think he got gut punched, and I think now he's floundering, and he has no idea what to do next. And that's why when you ask him things, he does this with hypotheticals as well. My colleague David Graham wrote a great piece a while back saying, don't ask him hypotheticals because he never rules them out. Today they said, well, could U.S. troops be involved in Ukraine? He said, well, looking at it, thinking about it, because that's his play. It's like the 2 weeks thing. That's his placeholder. I'll get back to you in 2 weeks. That's when he doesn't know what to say.
In 2 weeks. Now, I'm glad you said that, because I love having you on, because you're so right. I thought the same thing. I'm like, oh my gosh, he's floundering. And he was so excited about something possibly happening with Vladimir Putin. He's like applauding him, to me, which is, like those little monkeys with the thing that you get. Applauding. I was like, why is he applauding this man? By all accounts, he's a war criminal.
Well, he's afraid of him. I think, to understand Trump there, in terms of his body language and the way he approaches somebody like Putin, and yes, he was very excited that something would happen, and something did happen, but I think we're going to find out it's not something that Trump wanted or that he felt particularly good about. I think we're going to find out that meeting in Alaska went a lot more poorly than we're hearing about. But that's strange.
Wait. Tell me, why do you say that?
Well, because, if something good had happened, he would have come out and said, President Putin and I, we're moving ahead. We're going to work on a deal. We've got some things. Here's the outlines of it. Instead, he kind of came out and he hung his head and, and he sort of didn't take any questions. How the president loves to be in front of reporters and point.
Oh my God.
Point. And in this time he said, okay, so that's it. 2 minutes. In fact, I was going to go downstairs to watch this. My wife said, "Oh, this thing's on TV," and I came downstairs and the room was empty. And I said, "Well, have they begun yet?" And I had to rewind it to realize that he'd walked out there for 2 minutes. We agree, we don't agree. Okay, thank you, everybody leave. That to me tells me that something very, and Putin stood there with all of the kind of presence of a guy who was in charge, who knew he was in charge, and then got back on his plane and said, "Okay, thanks for the meeting. I'm out of here."
Well, I was surprised, Tom, because usually protocol is if you're on, depending on whose territory you're on, if let's just say if he was in Russia, then Putin would speak first and then Donald Trump would speak second after. But he was in Alaska on American territory. Putin came out and spoke and said, and then bolted, said, "I'm out of here," just leaving Donald Trump to kind of hold the bag. And it was completely shocking to me. And I think, what was the response from one person in the administration? I think it was an F-bomb. They're like, fuck. That was a response to what happened on Friday.
Yeah, and that goes back to your observation about as we're seeing here, Trump's affect when Putin's around. He becomes very submissive. He becomes very,
Look at him. Look at the body language. You're right.
Right. The body language is just, he wants the clapping for him. He wants to touch him. He wants to hold his, shake his hand and hold his arm. He really is afraid of him. I mean, we've known this since at least back to Helsinki. The first time I really saw them together, that made my stomach churn, and they walked out and Trump, did the whole thing about, "I believe Putin. I don't believe our own intelligence guys." He's afraid of Putin. He's intimidated by him, and he really wants his approval. He really aspires to be Putin's pal. And I think just something very bad. This kind of greeting on a red carpet with an outstretched hand is not how you greet someone who's engaged in the biggest war in Europe since Hitler, is obviously, in my view, guilty of multiple war crimes. I mean, a powerful American president would stand there, nod politely, wait till they were close, put out his hand, perfunctory shake, and then go straight. If they were doing that in public at all, I mean, they should have just gone to wherever they were meeting. But Trump really wanted to believe that his presence, and you've noticed this. A lot of people have commented on this. Trump really believes that his own physical presence and charmingness can motivate people to make deals, because he thinks everything is a real estate deal. He thinks everything is just trying to, some guys hashing out some stuff over the price of cement. Mm-hmm. And the world doesn't work that way. Putin is a genuinely evil man who has, interest in Ukraine that Donald Trump just doesn't understand.
Yeah. I wonder what you make of this, because as I was watching it, as I said, oh God, don't give him any ideas. If you're at war, there are no elections. Watch.
Upon peace, God willing we get peace, are you open to holding an election in your country?
Yes, of course. We are open for election, yes. We have to do safety circumstances, and a little bit we need to work in the parliament, because during the war you can't have elections, but we can do security. We need, we need a truth, yes, everywhere, in the battlefield, in the sky, in the sea, to make possible for people to do democratic, open, legal elections.
So you say during the war you can't have elections. So let me just say 3.5 years from now. So you mean if we happen to be in a war with somebody, no more elections? Oh, that's good. I wonder what the fake
news like this idea?
Yeah. No. Speaking of news, I got a question.
Okay. I want to know what you think, but it was so the gold ornamentation or ornaments were so loud I could barely hear what Zelensky was saying. But what do you think?
Well, first of all, the question for when Ukraine is going to have elections is up to Ukrainians. I mean, I'll remind people that during World War II, the British Parliament decided that it was not a propitious time to use their language. It was not a propitious time to have an election. But this notion that the reporters ask Zelensky, well, could you have an election? No one asks Vladimir Putin that. And the president doesn't, it became a kind of a laugh line, but it really shows, I think, the way that the Trump administration has put Zelensky in this narrative of, well, you have to be, it's up to you, and you say yes or no, and it's up to you to have elections. That's another reason, by the way, I thought that things probably went poorly in Alaska, because the two things that really struck me is when Trump was talking to Sean Hannity, who, you couldn't find a friendlier audience than Sean Hannity. And he said, what's your message for Zelensky? And, Trump quietly, got to take a deal. That's not an example of things going well. But the other thing that I found striking about that when it came to, this whole double standard is Trump basically setting up Zelensky so that if things go wrong, he can say, well, I did what I could. Zelensky said no. Mm-hmm. Every time, and people I think should really focus on this, every time Trump says Zelensky can end this war, by surrendering.
Right.
That's it. I mean, that's like in 1939 saying, well, Poland can really end this Nazi invasion anytime it wants by just surrendering and handing the country over.
Here's the thing, Tom. I think I wish something would come out of this and something positive. So Ukraine is not, defending itself with, tooth and nail every second. But do you think anything will come out of what's going on now? Was this just as some folks have been saying, Epstein derangement syndrome, Donald Trump trying to change the narrative any way that he could, even with this?
I think Trump blundered into this whole mess by trying to change the narrative and get away from the Epstein stuff and the economy and all the other things going on. But we're in it now. Whether anything comes out of it, I was never hopeful. I thought the summit was set up to fail. And this meeting today, just before you and I started talking, there was a report that apparently Trump got up, suspended the meeting, left the room, and went and called Vladimir Putin. When you do that, that's probably not a good sign. That when you're sitting with your allies and someone who's being invaded, that you say, excuse me, I have to go call the guy doing all this. Now, I'm hoping that he called them to say, listen, I'm giving you a heads up that we've made decisions. I don't think that's what happened. I'm not hopeful, but I think it tells you something again about what could have happened in Alaska, that all these European leaders, some of whom don't particularly get along with each other, decided to band together and show up in Washington 48 hours later.
Tom Nichols, thank you, sir. You're the man.
Thanks, Tom.
I appreciate it. That's Mr. Tom Nichols, fantastic journalist. So happy that he was able to join us today. Tom is the staff writer at The Atlantic and a contributor to The Atlantic Daily Newsletter. Make sure you check out Tom at The Atlantic and check out his newsletter, The Atlantic Daily Newsletter. He's a contributor to that. Okay, more to come. I'm going to show you some of the crazy things. Remember that whole thing last time about the suit? Marjorie Taylor Greene's crazy-ass boyfriend asking these really dumb questions and embarrassing himself in front of the world in the Oval Office, asking Zelensky the last time about not wearing a suit. They broached that again. But first, a word from our sponsors. Support comes from Mint Mobile. You know what doesn't belong in your summer plans? Getting burned by a huge wireless bill while you're out enjoying beach trips, barbecues, long weekends. Your cell phone shouldn't be holding you back. Man, don't you love the summer? That's why people are switching to Mint Mobile. You get the same coverage and speed that you're used to, but for far less money. For a limited time, Mint is offering 3 months of unlimited premium wireless for just $15 a month. Now, my own team has tried Mint Mobile, and the verdict is in. Crystal clear calls, reliable service, unlimited data, and the quality is identical to the big carriers. So don't sweat it this summer. Don't break the bank either. Get your new unlimited plan for just $15 a month at mintmobile.com/DonLemon. That's mintmobile.com/DonLemon. Support comes from Beam, B-E-A-M. Now, summer may be winding down, but life hasn't slowed down one bit at all. The news cycle is relentless and noise is constant and burnout is real. And that's not an accident because when you're exhausted, well, we're easier to control, right? That's why rest is resistance. And that's why I use Beam's Dream Powder. It is a natural sleep blend that helps me fall asleep, stay asleep, and wake up ready to go. With ingredients like reishi, magnesium L-theanine, and melatonin, Dream restores me without the fog or crash. Since I started using it, I've been sharper, been more grounded, more present, and I'm not alone. Beam has improved over 17 million nights of sleep for people all across the country. And it tastes great. It's smooth, it's delicious, and part of my nightly routine now. Right now, Beam is offering up to 40% off its Dream Powder for my listeners. So go to beam.com/lemon and use the code LEMON to get up to 40% off. Sleep well, wake up ready. The fight continues. Beam, B-E-A-M. Thanks to our sponsors. Did you hear that knocking? You guys heard that knocking? That is construction in our studio. I think they're gone for the day. But anyways, a hammering going on right above our heads on the roof. Okay, so here is, do you guys remember last time Vladimir Zelensky was here? It was a real, you know what show. It was a shit show. Okay? And so I want to listen to that. I don't want it today first. I want the old one first, and then we'll play what happened today. So this is what happened last time with Vladimir Zelensky and this Brian Grimm character who is allegedly, reportedly, Marjorie Taylor Greene's boyfriend.
Question for President Zelensky. Why don't you wear a suit? You're at the highest, why don't you wear a suit? You're at the highest level in this country's office and you refuse to wear a suit. Just want to see if do you own a suit?
Yeah, problems.
A lot of Americans have problems with you not respecting the dignity of this office.
I will wear a costume after this war will finish.
Okay.
Yes, maybe one.
Maybe something
like yours. Yes.
That'd be great.
Maybe something better. I don't know.
Yeah.
We will see. Maybe something cheaper than. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
He handled it. I mean, if you could tell, he was just like, "What? Fuck this guy! What an asshole!" And I think he handled him like a champ right there. Okay, that was then. This is now.
First of all, Mr. President Zelensky, you look fabulous in that suit.
I said the same thing.
Yeah, you look good.
I said the same thing.
Yeah.
Isn't that nice? That's the one that attacked you last time. See, now he's.
I remember that.
You look wonderful. No, my first question for you, President
But you
Zelensky.
are in the same suit.
I think
You see, I changed. You are not.
Maybe yours is much better. Real quickly, upon peace.
What do you think? Why is that happening in the Oval Office? Why is that guy even in there? I mean, well, we know why he's in there, but I'm just saying. I'm just saying. What's the whole point of having someone like that in the Oval Office? Not only that, look, not even ideologically, but just to, I think, to insult a world leader like that, especially when his country is under assault and has been invaded by Putin. The best looking man in the room, says Catherine W. I agree. But, you know, he's a cool character because he knows that he needs support from Donald Trump. But also, I think he does have an edge here because he has the European support. And if you have the European alliance and the support from all those people, I think that should really put pressure on Donald Trump. But maybe it'll make him go the exact opposite. You heard what Tom Nichols said. There was a report saying that he left, called the meeting short, and then went to call Vladimir Putin. That's why I said when I started the show and also before this all happened is that Zelensky and this European summit meeting, whatever, at the Oval Office should have been the first meeting. And then it should have been Vladimir Putin. But because of Donald Trump's love affair with Vladimir Putin, that did not happen. And because of his lack of foreign policy chops, even though he was the president once before, he still sucks at foreign policy. He also, I asked producers about this one. I said, what wars did Donald Trump stop? He says he stopped 6 wars. Now, is this in his mind? Like, what is he talking about? Is he talking about like regional conflicts in places that we don't usually talk about? Like, what is he talking about? Here it is. I want you to tell me.
From the next meeting, which should be a trilateral meeting wherever it takes place?
Well, we're going to let the president go over and talk to the president, and we'll see how that works out. And if we can do that, I will say, and again, I say it, in the 6 wars that I've settled, I haven't had a ceasefire. We just got into negotiations, and one of the wars was, as you know, in the Congo was 31 years long. Another one that we settled last week with 2 great countries was 35 years going on, and we had no ceasefire. So if we can do the ceasefire, great. And if we don't do a ceasefire, because many other points were given to us, many points were given to us, great points. Please.
Okay. Okay. All right, that's bullshit. Let me tell you why. Now, did you guys fall for that? Do you believe that? But his people will repeat it, he'll repeat it, and it will become fact. Unless it'll become fact, just because people are dumb enough to believe that. So here's the thing. Trump and his team are saying that his diplomacy between Israel and Iran, the Democratic Republic of Congo and Rwanda, I told you it was like regional conflicts, it was Cambodia and Thailand, India and Pakistan, Serbia and Kosovo, and Egypt and Ethiopia. That's what he's claiming. President Trump and his supporters have coined a new nickname for him. That's Peacemaker in Chief. Now, this is because they're glazing him because they want him to get the Nobel Peace Prize. That's what he wants. He can't. That's what he wants more than anything on earth, anything in the world, and that is to get the Nobel Peace Prize. He is so jealous of Barack Obama that Barack Obama got a Nobel Prize. And all you have to do, go and listen to these conservative, right-wing, loony, MAGA podcasters and streamers and radio, and they will tell you, oh my God, Donald Trump is the biggest peace deal maker or whatever. He deserves the Nobel Peace Prize. Barack Obama did nothing. Donald Trump is bringing the world together. And I'm just wondering, what fucking planet are they living on? They just Donald Trump all day and all night. That's all they do. How can we glaze him up when they know he is, as Gavin Newsom said, a failed president? A failed president. So I've mentioned the regions or the wars that he said that he has stopped. 6 of them he is claiming, okay? Here is the PolitiFact ruling. Mostly false because he is taking things out of context. There is a lot of uncertainty around Trump's role in these conflicts that he's talking about. Experts say he deserves some credit for deals that eased conflicts between Cambodia and Thailand, Israel and Iran, and India and Pakistan, although some leaders dispute his role. Some leaders are saying he didn't have shit to do with it, that he's just a big bloviator and he likes to lie about things. The U.S. was involved in a temporary peace deal between the Democratic Republic of Congo and Rwanda that experts said is significant but shaky. In a conflict between Egypt and Ethiopia, there's no solution on the table. And with Kosovo and Serbia, there is little evidence of a potential war, that a potential war was even brewing. Trump's statements contain an element of truth, but it ignores critical facts that would give a different impression. We rate it mostly false, as he would say, false. He's a liar. Let's not forget that. Donald Trump is a liar. He's a racist. And let's not forget his name is in the Epstein files. Let's not forget that his own FBI team and Justice Department redacted Donald Trump's name numerous times from the Epstein files. People who believe Donald Trump had nothing to do with whatever happened with Jeffrey Epstein or anything like, we don't know. So you can't be sure of that. You can have any opinion and go, well, I just don't think that he would. I just don't believe that he would. We don't know until he releases the Epstein file. Now, you heard Tom Nichols. He said that we stumbled into this. Donald Trump stumbled into this because what? Because he's trying to change the narrative. He wanted to get the news media, the topic away from Jeffrey Epstein. So he got into this one. But now we are here. And since we are here, we could be in trouble. Especially if the war in Russia and Ukraine escalates. And just remember, those European leaders were there. It's important to them because the more Vladimir Putin keeps creeping, inching and inching and inching its way through Ukraine, onto Poland and all that, into Europe, into Eastern Europe, and just keeps going, that's not good for the region. But all of this because Donald Trump is trying to change the narrative. I want you guys to remember this. And I know people think I'm crazy. Perhaps. That's okay. It's Epstein, Epstein, Epstein. Donald Trump needs something big to happen because of his involvement in those Epstein files. I was with you. I used to not believe, there's nothing, whatever. And then someone said, well, maybe he's doing this because he's getting everything done and he's using this. He's doing that anyways. Without the Epstein stuff, he was getting whatever he wanted done. He was defying federal judges before. He was firing people before. And I don't know if you've seen the fact check on Doge, how much money Doge wasted. Instead of saving billions of dollars, they wasted billions of dollars. So Donald Trump was getting everything he wanted to accomplish without the Epstein scandal. Something's up with those Epstein files. I'm telling you. And that's what we need to get to the bottom of. The Epstein files. Epstein, Epstein, Epstein. So this is what I hope the media would do and say, okay, this will figure it out. We'll play. Hopefully something happens. We'll see what happens with Russia. He called Vladimir Putin. Now back to the Epstein files. Why won't he release them? And when are they going to start asking questions in the briefing room or at these events about the Epstein files? I'm sure our international allies would like to know about a world leader's involvement in possible child sex trafficking. Remember what happened with Prince Andrew? Have you seen or heard from him? His name is in the Epstein files. Now, he had a victim that he paid off. That was adjudicated, that faced the legal system, but his name was not redacted from the Epstein files. I'm just saying. And that's where we are at this moment. And also, let's just a little bit. I just want to show you what's happening with Gavin Newsom, because this is just interesting. Because I think Gavin Newsom's social media team. Can you guys please get back to the Epstein of it all too? In your so can you guys please tweet as Donald Trump or as Gavin Newsom with the Epstein files? Because that's where the rubber meets the road. Trust me, Gavin Newsom. This is from Newsom after the high school thing when he said, I need that. I miss that. I like this one. Leave that one up. Long live the king. Now, how do you think Donald Trump felt about that? Now, I didn't know. I was like, who is that man? I was like, is that the guy from Scandal? You know, what's his name? Who was it? President, whatever his name was on Scandal. Is this Tony Goldwyn? By the way, I know Tony Goldwyn's brother is just as handsome too. And Donald Trump hates this. This is like an AI generated Gavin Newsom. It also could be Martin O'Malley. Do you guys remember him? I think he was the governor of Maryland for a while. That could be Martin O'Malley. It doesn't really look like Gavin Newsom, but I like it. I think it's good. And then there is one more from Newsom. That's just a king, but also the scarf one, really, for me. And then this one, let's explain this one. So put the first one up about the Nancy Mace thing, okay? So the persistence says Republicans are 52,939 active voters away from flipping Pennsylvania. There are 1.1 million no-party affiliated voters in Pennsylvania. Nothing would anger Governor Shapiro more than for the Commonwealth to turn red. Register as a Republican today, okay? And then what happened here? And then Governor Newsom says, the press people says, thank you, Nancy Mace. Now, I think this is a trans advocate, by the way. That was shady. Okay, and then the next one, to this one. It says, "Thank you, Nancy Mace." Is that the same? Is that the same one? Thank you, Nancy Mace. That is hilarious. Okay, and then there's the one by Tommy Lahren. Do we have that?
This is it.
That it? Oh, there it is at the top. Okay, got it. I didn't see it at the top. I had it cut off. Tommy Lahren, new lows unlocked by Gavin Newsom and his team of losers. Ooh, you guys got her. That it's getting to him. Keep going, Governor. And then they responded, "You sound woke." That's some world-class trolling right there. Hey, look. Good for the goose is good for the gander. Thank you, Nancy Mace. Tommy Lahren says, "You're kidding me, right?" Let me see. What does she say? Is your state? Do we have something about "you're kidding me, right"? Your state and what is she talking about? Is she talking about? I don't forget what that is. She must be talking about California. Do we know what that tweet said? King of Twitter, Peter Twinklage.
I don't have that one right now. However, I can get it ready for the members only show, which folks should tune in to watch if they are Lemon Legends or Lemon Heads. And there is currently a link at the top of the chat to upgrade your membership if you want to.
Yes, tell them what happens when you get to be a lemon. Peter and Nikki, when you get to be a Lemon Legend and a Lemon Head, what happens?
Well, if you're a Lemon Head, then you get to join us for our members only shows.
There you go.
And if you are a Lemon Legend, you get to be on the show when we have our Legend Nights.
And if you are just anyone who would like to be part of the Lemon Nation, you can also buy our merch, which is the best. Everyone loves our merch, just so you know. Anyways, so you can go to, if you want to know anything about the show. Oh, speaking of, can we show some of the folks? Let's show, who is this? Lovely. Oh, wearing the same hat.
This is Carrie from Reno.
Carrie, I love you. I hope you like your merch, Carrie. We love that you're wearing it. Thank you for being a supporter. Thank you for supporting independent journalism. And thank you, guys. Make sure that you become a member and also subscribe. The subscribe button or subscription button is right at the bottom right next to the comments, and subscriptions are free. You just hit subscribe and it's done. So thank you for becoming part of the Lemon Nation. Oh my, who is this little cutie?
This is Carrie's grandson, Judah.
Oh, Judah is a cutie pie. Oh my gosh. Old people be knowing mug and the Lemon Nation hat. Come on, tell me he's not the cutest. Grandma, grandma's rule. Oh, who is this gorgeous lady?
Sherry Lee from South Carolina.
Oh, and is that a lemonade in her hand? I mean, it looks like it says lemon in her hand. It is a lemonade. And she is wearing a Lemon Nation hat. Where is she? South Carolina?
Yes.
On the beach, no doubt. Good for you, ma'am. Thank you for supporting. Oh, and look, the lemon sticker on the water bottle. Who's this?
Jennifer from Ohio.
Nice, Jen from Ohio. Thank you so much for that. Oh, who's this handsome
This
Jen?
is Maurice.
What up, Maurice? Old people be knowing. Thank you. I know. Isn't this cute? I want to see you guys. If you guys have some dogs, I want to see with the dog scarf or the lemon socks. What else you got? Is that it?
That's all.
That's it for today. What's the email address, Nikki, for our?
It is the DonLemonShow@gmail.com.
DonLemonShow@gmail.com. You can send it there.
Send your merch photos. Send where you're sending them from, because we'd love to see some.
Merch is popping. It is. Okay, so if you want to find out, go to donlemon.com. You can click on, you want to know where the show is, you can click on watch, and then you can go there and hit that join button and subscribe, okay? Right there. And then you go to store if you're interested, and then you can go here to donlemon.com and you can go on the merch, hit merch, and there's all of our stuff. I can't wait for my new shirts to come in, my Tone Untone ones. They're not here yet. Oh, and I ordered the popcorn things too for myself and a candle. I haven't gotten it. Where's my merch? Where's my stuff? Okay, thank you guys. So if you are the highest tier of the membership, we're gonna have a private showing, a members only show coming up right now.
Not just highest and Lemon Heads too. Two
highest too. Yeah. Okay. So I always say, hopefully today was just a fairly straightforward show because foreign policy was the big news of the day. It's not often sexy, but I tell you, I'm only going to bother you with this Trump stuff with things that are important to you, or if there's some fun way we control him, because we know what's up. We all know what's up. All right. That's why you're here. Okay, guys. So look, you can be informed without being inundated. And so until I see you back here at 10 a.m. Eastern time for Hot Topics tomorrow morning, I want you to do this, except if you are a member and you're going to the members only. I'm going to see you guys in a couple of seconds. But until I see you back here tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. for Hot Topics, turn the TV off. Thanks everyone for watching. Your support means the world to us. So make sure you hit the like button and you subscribe to our channel to make sure that you never ever miss a video. We're live every day, 10 a.m. Eastern time. We drop even more content at 2 p.m. Eastern and 5 p.m. Eastern. And if you want more Don Lemon Show content, we'd love for you to become a member of the Lemon community, where you will receive access to special community posts. You'll get exclusive content and members only live shows. So head over to our channel page or click the join button on this video. Again, thank you for watching. We appreciate your love and your support, and we will see you next time.